if I don't do that, I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
I didn't do that, and I lost.
Welcome to Cloudy with a Chance of Meeples, a channel of conversation and board games.
Hey, my name is Brent.
And I'm Nicole.
And welcome to Cloudy with a Chance of Meeples. Today on the channel, we are looking at a tile-laying legacy game, which when we found out about this game, we were like over the moon excited.
Yep.
We're looking at My Island, the sequel to My City, which tile-laying legacy game, which we absolutely loved. We gave it a 90% chance, Meeples, because it was amazing. So this is the sequel to that game. This will be a spoiler-free-ish review. I only say that as a disclaimer. We will try not to spoil anything, but we might slip up, just to let you know. But I'll show you how this one plays in the radar overview. Final forecast coming up. First, cue the thunder. So the radar overview for My Island looks something like this. This is going to be a spoiler-free review. I'm not going to show you what is in any of the 8 envelopes, but I will show you the 8 envelopes. And then I'll show you as well how this game plays. Each player will get their own island board, as well as a set of 28 matching tiles matching the color of their island board. So this would be the Bears board, and so they'd all be brown. Each player starts with a point track score marker that will put on the 10-point mark. You'll shuffle these cards and then you're ready to go. This game is played kind of simultaneously. You'll flip over a card. Everybody then will look for this tile and they will place it on their board. So this would be this one. I'll just say at the start of the game, you have to start somewhere on the beach. So let's just say I put it there. And then we do it again. At that point, I'd find that tile. And I would have to put this down so that at least one of the hexes is touching. So I couldn't put it here, but I could put it there because this green is touching. And you will keep going. Where's that one? That would be this one. So again, I could do something like this. So you'll be putting these tiles on the board. If ever you can't put a tile on the board or you do not want to put a tile on the board, you would then flip over whatever tile it is that was flipped and you take -1 point. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of different things on the board, little shapes. You'll be adding things and subtracting things throughout the game. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but this is kind of the framework of how the game plays. You just keep flipping these things over. The round is over as soon as either A, the deck runs out, or B, everybody kind of bows out. You can always bow out and say, you know what? I don't want to play this one. Say this is the next one. I could say I don't want to play this one, and I flip it over. Instead of losing 1 point, I would just be out. I couldn't play any more tiles after that. And then again, once either this deck runs out or all the players have voluntarily stopped the round, that is when the game or the round is over. Then you go to end of round scoring and stuff like that, which I'm not going to show you. I will also say that after you've done the legacy component, you can flip it over. You can play the eternal board. So you can just play a version of My Island again and again and again. Rules are in the back of the My Island board, the eternal game, so you can do that. And I will show you what the envelopes are. Some of it will obviously give you the ideas of what it is, but this is what you get: the arrival, then the settlement, statues and pirates, danger in the forest, the plateau. Some of these are pretty thick envelopes. The plateau, look to the stars, megaliths, and the portal. So you have 8 different chapters, 24 games in total, and that is how you play My Island. Let's move on over now and check out the final forecast. So the final forecast for My Island, as it's on the radar overview, you got a player board, you get tiles, you're flipping cards, everybody's putting on whatever tile is flipped over simultaneously, very similar to My City.
Yeah.
As we move forward, before we move forward, we are going to be doing a considerably high amount of, that makes sense?
Yeah.
A lot of comparing to My City. And we talked about this. We're like, how can we compare, or how can we just talk about just this game when there is My City in the background saying, I started this, Yeah. And so...
Yeah, there will be a lot of My City talk.
Comparisons.
Probably.
So, I think we can both agree there's 3 things about this game. It's slower.
Yep.
It's longer.
Absolutely.
And crunchier than My City.
A lot crunchier.
So if My City was like, oh, that's boring, that's too short, what's next? Is there anything more? That's for you.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely. Yep. My City was awesome. I loved My City. I was so excited for My Island because I thought it would be another My City.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not.
No.
I mean, it has similar things, of course, but it's different. It's just a lot harder. Like, it's more difficult.
1 second.
It's just, like you said, it's a lot slower. The turns take longer. You're thinking about more things.
The games overall take longer.
Yeah.
It says 30 minutes on the box, and they suggest
I don't know if
do
it's 30.
a whole chapter in one city.
Oh, my goodness.
We didn't do that at all in
That would have been
My
for
Island.
sure 2 hours if we had done that.
They are considerably longer, and it follows the similar paths as My City, where it starts with like a little bit of rules, and then it adds,
Yep.
takes something away, adds, takes something away, adds.
Yep.
And by the end, it's like, I think if I'm correct, there's like the last 3 episodes. There's like
10 things.
Yeah, there's like 10 things.
To keep track
You're going
of.
to score these 8 different things immediately, and then the 9th and 10th at the end. And so maybe the whole thought process was, hey, let's do a point salad, so if people are all over the place, they can focus on X, Y, Z, and depending on what stickers they have where on which tiles and where on the board, they can do all these things.
But you know what? It was a lot of work.
Yeah, it was considerably
Like, my brain
crunchier.
It was too much for me.
Yeah, like...
I didn't enjoy it as much.
You were excited when we would open up a new envelope or whatever in My City.
Yeah.
And in this one, you're like, what's next?
I was like, oh no, like what else? Because it felt like a chore by the end. And when we sat down to do the final chapter, I was excited to be done. Honestly, because it felt like we had been doing it forever, and it felt like it was dragging on.
I felt that, to me, this encompasses the game. It reminds me of the TV show Lost. And I'm not even talking about like thematically. There's some ties. You're in mysterious islands.
Sure.
What's going on? All of a sudden there's danger in the rainforest. What's going on? And it just reminds me a little bit of Lost. Not, again, no more thematically, but kind of in the sense of like, oh man, there's intrigue. Oh, what's this? Oh, what's this? All of a sudden it's like, and this? That's a little weird. And this. And now you have to place things this direction. And now you have to do things in this way and this. And it's like, it kind of, to me, got a little convoluted and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then about halfway through the point, and maybe halfway through the game, I think this is similar to My City. It brings in kind of like a whole nother level of thinkiness.
But in My City, it didn't feel daunting like it did in this one.
It brings in kind of like a game within a game aspect. I'm trying to be very vague here. But then you're like, oh man, I know I really need to know where I'm putting XYZ tile because it'll affect something else that will affect my opponents and it'll affect that. So it does ratchet that up. It's like the next step for My City.
Big step, giant
It's
step.
a big step for My City. So like if you wanted just much of the same, you might be disappointed in My Island. If My City was like, that was cool, I want more, I want to like burn my brain a little bit more, My Island would be for you.
Yeah, especially if you like puzzles and spatial things.
Yes.
And...
I will also say, I like the tension that it brought at the end of the game, the last chapter. It was like, wow, I got 3 episodes. I have to get this and this and this done. How am I going to do that? If I don't do that, I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
I didn't do that, and I lost. And so...
For me, the final chapter was really disappointing because it felt a little bit like loose ends. And it felt like I did... How many chapters were there altogether?
8.
So, through all the 8 chapters, it took us like... It felt like so long, and we put so much into it, and I put all this like effort and thinking into it. And then at the end of the game, my final score was not high.
Well, that's because they use the progress points in a unique way.
No, I get that.
I have that on my list.
I get that, but I didn't like that because it felt like it fell flat.
And
because I'm like, I did all this work, I did all these things, and I like didn't get a very high or good score or any. It didn't feel fulfilling.
Your score was low. My score was in the minus at the end of this. But I like
all that work.
And I like that with the progress points. Again, we're talking very vague here. They use the progress points in a cool way where, you know, if you're sitting across the table and you're like, wow, that person's got 10 more progress points than I, which happened, I was like 10 ahead of you.
Yeah.
They use them in a way that... If someone is really far ahead, you can still catch up and you can still win.
You maybe
and
can
so,
still.
well, no, you did.
Oh, I did, but it wasn't easy, and I didn't catch up. I barely.
Yeah, you beat me by 11 points or something like that. But so, I don't know.
Yeah,
I like that. I like the tension that it brought. I will say once again, read all the rules for all 3 episodes. Yeah. I want to say episode 13.
It's a lot of confusion at times. If you don't read very carefully.
Like, no, in the next episode, we're also going to have to do this.
Yeah.
Start planning ahead.
Yeah, there was a point.
The one before
there was a point where we...
It was episode 13. I'm pretty sure it was episode 13. We read this, and I didn't finish, whatever. We didn't read the whole sheet. And all of a sudden, like, what? We have to do this in only 2 games? Which, that would have been nice to know if we would have known about it a game earlier. Yeah. But it's kind of on us, but... Learn from our mistakes and read the rules.
Yeah.
But yes, there's a lot of like everything from 1 to 21 is now in play, and you're like, holy smokes.
What was that
again? There's a lot to remember in that regard. But final scoring. What would you give this one?
60%.
60% chance? Yep. I'm a little higher because I did like the whole like thinky, puzzly, all that stuff with that. It got a little bit weird and wonky with some of the things in the middle.
I did. Yeah.
But not as good as My City. I'm giving this one a 75% chance Meeples because I think it's a good legacy game.
It's a good game.
You may really like this if you liked.
People will like it. People will
My
like
City and wanted more.
Yeah.
And if My City was just like the sweet spot, you may not want to dive into My Island. It might be a little bit too much. Games are longer, more to think about. Lots of like coloring in different things, slowing things down.
It's a commitment.
But. There you have it. Our thoughts on My Island. My name is Brent.
I'm Nicole.
Check us out on Facebook, Cloudy with a Chance of Meeples. Till next time, grab your umbrella. The forecast is cloudy with a Chance of Meeples.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember to grab your umbrella because the forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.